The Haunting of Halton Mine, a shadow seeker's investigation. I've always been a firm believer that everything has a story. As I peered through the dust-speckled window of our van, my eyes scanned the skeletal remains of the once thriving mining town. My partners, Chris and Jesse, arrived in this deserted corner of Nevada as the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of fiery orange and dusky pink. We were there following reports of a spectral train, a phantom locomotive that was said to glide down the abandoned tracks on moonlit nights. We are the Shadow Seekers, three paranormal investigators committed to unveiling the truth hidden in the shadows. The case of the phantom train was our latest challenge, and it had led us to this ghost town, a relic of the gold rush era, now deserted and forgotten. As we unloaded our equipment, the chilly desert wind whistled through the empty streets, stirring up miniature dust devils that danced under the rapidly darkening sky. The town was eerily silent, save for the creaking of dilapidated buildings and the abandoned mine just a few hundred feet away. At the heart of the town stood the old train station, its wooden structure weather-beaten and gray. The platform was empty, covered in a thick layer of dust and gravel. The tracks leading away from it were rusted and partially buried under sand and tumbleweed, a testament to years of neglect. We set up our base inside the station. Chris was busy setting up our cameras and sound equipment while Jesse and I set up our sleeping bags and food. As the night fell and a full moon emerged, we took our places. With our cameras and audio recorders running, we watched and waited. Hours ticked by, and the tension grew with every passing minute. The wind outside had died down, and the town was eerily silent, amplifying the creaking of the old station and the occasional rustle of a nocturnal animal in the distance. And then, just as we were starting to doubt the validity of the reports, we heard it. The faint, distant sound of a train whistle echoing through the night, followed by the rhythmic clatter of a locomotive thundering down the tracks. My heart pounded in my chest as I looked at Jessie, her eyes wide with anticipation. We rushed outside just in time to see the spectral train glide by, its carriages bathed in a soft, ethereal glow. As it passed, we heard the distant moans of phantom passengers, faint voices, the clink of glass, the rustle of clothing. As quickly as it appeared, it vanished, leaving behind an eerie silence and a trail of frost on the rusted tracks. The phantom train is real. Now, it was up to us to find out its story. The sight of the spectral train had set our adrenaline pumping. Sleep was out of the question, our minds buzzing with the implications of what we had witnessed. We decided to trace the path the phantom train had taken. Chris geared up with a flashlight, a digital recorder, and our thermal camera, while Jesse and I carried bags of extra batteries, a notepad, infrared sensors, and a handheld EMF meter. The journey was not going to be easy. The tracks were overgrown and covered in debris. But we were determined. The moon cast long, eerie shadows as we trekked toward the mine. The entrance created a portal to the tragedy of long ago. The EMF detector in my hand began to spike, and the temperature around us dropped significantly. It was here, in the bitter cold and under the ghostly moonlight, we started hearing them, the whispers of the past. The faint sound of pickaxes hitting rocks, the grunts of men laboring, and then a sudden, chilling scream, followed by the rumble of a cave-in. A sense of dread washed over me as I realized what we had stumbled upon. This was not just a mining accident, it was a catastrophic disaster that had claimed the lives of these miners. The spectral train we had witnessed was not just an anomaly, but a phantom echo of the past, a tragic event locked in a never-ending loop, doomed to repeat itself over and over again. But why? What had caused this haunting? And more importantly, how could we put these restless spirits to peace? The answers lay within the forgotten stories of this abandoned mining town. And it was our responsibility as the Shadow Seekers to uncover them. By daybreak, we were back in the ghost town, combing through the remnants of the past, seeking answers. The dilapidated town hall still held piles of dusty records. We rummaged through old records we had found in the station's office. They were covered in a thick layer of dust, their pages yellowed with age. The year was 1889. The mine was teeming with workers when a sudden cave-in trapped several miners. With no way out, The only hope was the train due to carry the medical aid from the nearest town. The miners waited, their hopes fading as their oxygen ran out, for a train that never arrived. The reason? A miscalculation? The wrong departure time sent to the medical team? By the time the train reached the mining town, it was too late. All the miners trapped in the cave-in had perished. The town was steeped in guilt and grief, leaving an indelible scar that echoed in the form of the phantom train. As I read the account, a chilling wind swept through the room, rustling the old, brittle pages. It was as if the spirits were acknowledging their story was finally being told. Feeling a sense of sorrow for the tragic fate of the miners, we decided on our course of action. We visited the mining site once again, this time armed with a copy of the record, an old lantern to symbolize the miners' lamps, and a makeshift plaque to acknowledge their untimely demise. We held a moment of silence for the miners, reading out their names from the town records. We apologized for the delay of the train, acknowledging the grave error that cost them their lives. We hung the plaque near the collapsed entrance, a small token to honor their memory. That night, we once again waited for the phantom train. But this time, it was different. The spectral locomotive did appear, but instead of the usual routine, it halted at the site of the mine. There was an ethereal silence as the spectral figures of the miners got on the train, their ghostly forms flickering in the dim moonlight. One by one, they turned towards us, nodded, and then faded away, the train along with them. The phantom train of Nevada never appeared again. The spirits of the miners were finally at rest, their tragic tale acknowledged, their echoes silenced. As the shadow seekers, Chris, Jesse, and I had done our job. It was a heavy story, but one that ended in peace. In the end, it reiterated why we did what we did, to seek the truth hidden in the shadows and, in doing so, help those who could not find their rest.
Subscribe, like, and comment. Watch these videos next.